Good morning and welcome. Whoever you are, wherever you come from, whomever you love, we welcome you. I am Worship Associate Camille Pavlicek-Fauser, and I join our worship leader, Swanny Voneida, our music director, Hal Walker, along with Katie Grigg Miller, and a variety of talented musicians, and Amanda Rome, who will lead Time for All Ages. A special thanks to the very gifted technical team who make this Zoom service possible. Lay-led services are a time-honored Unitarian Universalist tradition. We believe that the Sunday service is best reflected in a variety of voices and experiences. We hope you find something in the service today that nourishes your spirit.
We light this chapter to find inner peace, love for each other, and faith in ourselves. Also, to be welcoming to whomever we meet and kind to all living creatures. So gather around this light of hope as we share this time together. There it goes.
Raise songs singing, raise voices ringing, move forward into that light. We're all equal voices, giving songs for the living. Sing as we soar through the night. We're just people. What if today we walk in the light, knowing we're all equal now? Wouldn't it be something to see? We're all equal, no matter the skin, with money or none. We are all just people. Wow, how does it feel not to be free? We're just people walking forward into the day. We're all equal voices calling. Hope is on the way. We're just people. We are the ones who are walking forward into the light of the day. We're all equal voices. Our praise song is calling for all people to sing on your way. We're just people.
Race singing, raise voices ringing, move forward into that light. We're all equal voices, giving songs for the living. Sing as we soar through the night. We're just people, praise songs, walking, raise forward into that light. We're all equal voices, giving songs calling. Sing as we soar through the night.
We're just people,
praise songs, singing, raise
knowing we're all equal now.
forward into that light.
We're all equal
voices,
giving
songs
calling.
Sing as we soar through the night.
We're just people walking forward into the day. We're all equal voices calling. is on the way. We're just people. Hey, oh, whoa, whoa, yeah, oh, hey, oh, whoa, 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 yeah. Praise song singing, the praise voices ringing. Move forward into that light. Move forward into that light.
The writer Aldous Huxley stated that we do not learn very much from the lessons of history is the most important of all the lessons that history has to teach. Nowhere is this more evident than in our history of war. Each of us has been touched by war, whether it be in our opposition to it, our study of it, or in the wounds that war leaves to heal and sometimes fester. My father parachuted into Normandy on D-Day and was seriously wounded 3 days later. The deep scar on his face where his lower jaw was shattered was a constant reminder. A quiet man on matters of his service, my father had hoped that this good war would be the last. However, my family suffered a terrible loss when my brother, a helicopter pilot, was killed in Vietnam in 1967. This wound has never healed. How can we, a people who long for peace, be motivated by the wounds and scars that we bear? As a member of the Gold Star Families for Peace, an organization founded by Cindy Sheehan, I recognize that not only must I speak out against war, but my war scars place me in a special position to do so. Another person who was in a special position to speak out against war was the late historian Howard Zinn. He was a bombardier in the Pacific Theater in World War II, a role for which he had great regret. Zinn wrote that the essence of war, however just or humanitarian may be the claims, is the slaughter of innocents organized by national leaders, accompanied by lies. Speaking about the Vietnam War, Martin Luther King Jr. stated, "Somehow this madness must cease. I speak as a child of God and brother to the suffering poor of Vietnam. The great initiative in this war is ours. The great initiative to stop it must be ours." In a note I received from the father of an Ohio man who was killed in the Iraq War some years ago, he said, "I'm certain you know how difficult this is. At the same time, I'm certain you know that we are all brothers and sisters. Let us never forget that. We are all family and part of the interconnected web of life. Let us answer Dr. King's call and take the great initiative. Let us demonstrate that history has taught us to beat our swords into plowshares and our spears into pruning hooks. Come, let us worship together." Each week as we gather for worship, we set aside time to widen the caring ministry of this congregation. We invite you now to share your joys and concerns by entering them in the chat box. From Peter Kirk, concerns for my friend Dan recovering from spinal stenosis surgery, very serious. And Anne Vanderweeb says, thinking of my friends John and Andrew who recently lost their fathers. Missing Sue Reeves, says Lee Booker, friend of mine as well. And Becky Haynes says, my cousin in hospital with strokes. Our heart goes out to her, and very happy birthday to Kiara. I never pronounced that correctly, and I'm sorry, Marion. Vivian Sandlin says, I have concerns about federal agents coming to Cleveland. And Colin says, prayers requested for my great-grandmother to stay strong in these hard times. Absolutely. And Jennifer says, holding my neighbor Ann in the light on the loss of her mother a couple of weeks ago. Happy birthday, Katie. And the Rome family, again, my family is going swimming, and then for 3 days we will be camping, says Raylan. Have a great time. Jennifer Gregg says, holding the Noden family in our hearts as Harry makes his transition. Absolutely. And Eric Van Bar says, concerns for all students, teachers, administrators as the school year comes closer. So very true. For all that we have shared and for those things that we hold in the silent sanctuary of our hearts, we give grateful thanks. And please join me in the spirit of prayer. What we do matters. A meditation by Laura Horton Ludwig. Spirit of life and love, we are here because we believe that what we do matters. We are here because we believe how we live our life matters. That every act of kindness or meanness, courage or fear, love or hate, we are weaving the fabric of the universe that holds us all. We are here because we need encouragement, because we need strength, because so often we get distracted. We get in a rush. We don't think. We choose the easy way, when the harder path is what our spirit truly longs for. We are here because none of us is perfect, because we inspire one another to try again, to take another step. We are here because we have felt the stirrings of love and grace in our hearts and hands, and we crave more of that for ourselves, but not only for ourselves, for everyone. We are here because how we live matters. Blessed be. Peace in the Heart by Lao Tse. If there is to be peace in the world, there must be peace in the nations. If there is to be peace in the nations, there must be peace in the cities. If there is to be peace in the cities, there must be peace between neighbors. If there is to be peace between neighbors, there must be peace in the home. If there is to be peace in the home, there must be peace in the heart.
Hello, I'm Swanny Voneida. Dad and I have been members of this congregation for many years. I would like to thank the worship arts team, and especially Camille Pavlicek, for helping me to put this sermon together. Without their help, I would never have been able to do this. Why should we, as Unitarian Universalists, care about the path to peace? Our sixth principle, the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all, directs us to care. Reverend Sean Parker Dennison says, the sixth principle seems extravagant in its hopefulness and improbable in its prospects. Can we continue to say we want world community, peace, liberty, and justice for all? The world is full of genocide, abuse, terror, and war. What have we gotten ourselves into? As naive and impossible as the sixth principle may seem, I'm not willing to give up on it. In the face of our culture's apathy and fear, I want to imagine and help create a powerful vision of peace by peaceful means, liberty by liberatory means, justice by just means. I want us to believe and live as if we believe that a world community with liberty, peace, and justice for all is possible. There is no guarantee that we will succeed, but I can assure you that we will improve ourselves and improve the world by trying. My sermon is entitled From War to Peace. It is divided into two parts, the terror of war and the path to peace. The terror of war. My family and I left Hawaii when I was 8.5 years old, 3 weeks before the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. I loved Hawaii, and so did my family. It was a paradise for a kid. I went to school barefoot each day. I climbed trees and played in the vacant lots. I learned to swim and rode the waves in old inner tubes. Then my father was transferred to the mainland. We left Hawaii 3 weeks before Pearl Harbor on the last civilian boat to leave, just by chance. We went to Los Angeles to stay with relatives. On December 7th, I heard the news and hid in a closet. I had never been to Pearl Harbor, but I knew it was in Hawaii. The noise of the bombs going off and sirens on the radio alarmed me. My friends were there. Everyone was scared, especially my family. I was so frightened. My friends could be killed. My parents were afraid. My world was about to be destroyed. About 4,000 servicemen were killed and 68 civilians. Some of the civilians went out in their small boats to try to rescue our servicemen who were stranded on our sinking ships at Pearl Harbor. We Americans were asleep. We were complacent in our strength. It was a hard lesson, but one that had to be learned. I met Ted Voneida during the Korean War at Walter Reed Army Hospital. I was an occupational therapist in the Army Women's Medical Specialist Corps. He was a corporal doing research on the brain at Walter Reed Research Center. I was trying to put soldiers' lives back together after their injuries, and he was discovering how the brain works. Ted and I soon discovered we were kindred spirits in our hatred of war. On April 15th, 1967, we marched along Fifth Avenue in New York City in protest of the Vietnam War, along with 500,000 other people. It was exhilarating and inspiring to be among this crowd of people of all ages. During the march along Fifth Avenue, people were leaning out of their balconies to cheer us on. They were with us. They hated that war too. These people were just so happy we were there. Soon the body bags increased. 58,000 of our young men and women lost their lives in Vietnam. Others had their lives changed forever. It has been shown that the war was based on wrong pretenses. When we lost the war, many Vietnam civilians got caught in the rush to leave. While Ted and I visited Hawaii, we went to the Pearl Harbor National Memorial. Standing on the dock, looking down at our U.S. ship sunken under the water with all those men forever entombed, we were struck with deep sadness. Had all this been really necessary? In August 1970, Ted and I had the opportunity to visit Japan. There we met Japanese friends, Dr. and Mrs. Hiro Ito. Dr. and Mrs. Hiro Ito entertained us at their home and showed us the area near Tokyo. While discussing the end of World War II, Hiro queried, why did the United States need to drop the atom bombs on us? The government was in negotiation with the United States and its allies for surrender. We could not answer, thinking about the terrible devastation the bombs had caused in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, in addition to Tokyo and beyond. Ted said, why did we drop the second bomb? They could see the terrible, horrible effects from the first one. Did they need to reduce Japan to its knees? The path to peace. While in Japan, we went to see the Hiroshima Monument. We met with a most gracious hibakusha, a person who survived the atomic bombing. She was in Hiroshima during the time of our nuclear attack. She was so kind to us and appreciated that we had come to see for ourselves what had happened to them. The entire week of August 6th through August 14th is observed by the Japanese government for a remembrance of these attacks and the destruction that occurred. We visited the Ground Zero Memorial Park in Hiroshima and toured the many beautiful monuments to those who died there. There were strings of origami birds everywhere, fashioned by children all over Japan. One little girl, dying from the effects of the bomb, felt that she would be spared if she could just keep making these birds. The park was so colorful with strings of birds and flowers everywhere. We also went to the museum, which houses the artifacts found later at Ground Zero. The line was long, with many families bringing their children and others making the pilgrimage. The Japanese people were so kind and really happy that we wanted to see what had happened to them. I felt so safe with them and like a pilgrim too. Later, on our way back through Ground Zero, we saw where one unfortunate soul was forever etched into the concrete sidewalk. He or she was incinerated by the exploding heat of the bomb, and their body was vaporized. The exact printout of their dead body through a chemical reaction had printed a dark shadow of the person. To my knowledge, it is still visible. Whose life was cut short by our bombing? What can we, individually, as Unitarian Universalists, do about this? How can we create world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all? We can vote. We can help others to vote and hold our leaders to their promises. Together, we can make a difference.
It is with hearts filled with love for this beautiful community that the offering will now be gratefully received.
So many wars, cycles of hate, what are they for? Is this our fate? Nobody wins in any war. They say it's too late, we're in deep. Don't take that bait. Let's open up the debate, dictate a mandate to our heads of state. Negotiate, don't escalate. We have a voice, we have a conscience, so let us rise from our conspicuous silence and start to bend our swords into plows. Lord, show us how. And peace will grow like the tree whose leaves are for the healing of the nations. We'll overflow with the fruits of kindness, generosity, and patience. And we'll let go of our grudges and our own apathetic complacence. We'll learn how to turn our swords into plows. 'Cause nobody wins all these wars. Is there no end? When will we learn what's the cost? We reciprocate. They say it's too late, we're in deep stalemate. Let's open up the debate, dictate a mandate to our heads of state. Educate, don't instigate. We have a voice, we have a conscience, so let us rise from our conspicuous silence and start to bend our swords into plows. Lord, show us how. And peace will grow like the tree whose leaves are for the healing of the nations. We'll overflow with the fruits of kindness, generosity, and patience. And we'll let go of our grudges and our own self-important complacence. We'll learn how to be peacemakers. Let there be peace on this fragile planet. May not happen tomorrow, but we can start to plan it. Let there be peace across all the nations. Let there be peace throughout all creation, and we will be blessed. We'll be peacemakers, and we shall be called the children of God. I will arise, I'll use my voice, let there be peace.
I invite you to join in the words for extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. May we carry these in our hearts and minds until we are together again.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we'll walk hand in hand someday. We shall all be free. We shall all be free. We shall all be free someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall all be free someday. We shall live in peace. We shall live in peace. We shall live in peace someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall live in peace someday.
Now go in peace, embraced by the light. Go in peace, embraced by the light and warmth of our gathering. Go in love, ready again to struggle on. Go in beauty, shining forth like a lamp for freedom. May it be so, and amen.